Returning after months away, I craved warmth, love, familiarity. Deployment hardened men, but inside I longed for what kept me strong. Family. Home wasn't just walls, it was memories, laughter, and the promise of unwavering commitment. Stepping onto the porch, I inhaled deeply, the scent of pine mixing with distant rain. A key twisted in the lock and I entered. Silence.
Odd.
Usually my arrival sparked chaos. Hugs, excited voices, dinner waiting. This quiet felt wrong. Walking through hallways lined with framed photographs, my gaze landed on our wedding portrait. Emma, radiant in white, had promised forever. I believed her. Now, doubt crept into my thoughts. Footsteps upstairs. Muffled voices. Laughter. A sound both familiar and foreign. My son's room? No, he texted, saying football practice ran late. Curiosity edged into suspicion. Slow steps carried me upward. The bedroom door, slightly ajar, revealed shadows intertwined, bodies moving in rhythm that spoke of passion, urgency. The air thickened. My pulse pounded. I recognized that voice.
Emma.
But the other?
No.
Impossible. Pushing open the door, I froze. My wife tangled with Josh, my son's closest friend. Young, muscular, full of arrogance. Betrayal seared through me. Fury and disbelief warred inside. Emma's gasp sliced the tension, but words failed her. Josh, shameless, merely smirked. What the hell? My voice, raw, broke the silence. Emma scrambled for a sheet, cheeks flushed, not with shame, but something else. Josh sat up, stretching lazily, unbothered. Sir, Shut up. Authority bled into my tone, honed from years commanding men in battle. Emma stammered, It's not. Don't. The reality shattered something deep within. Marriage, trust, love, illusions. I stared at the woman I once cherished and the boy who had called me, like a second father, for years. A bitter chuckle escaped my lips. How long? Emma flinched. Josh merely shrugged. Few months. No remorse. No hesitation. Rage coiled, but I refused to explode. Marines didn't react blindly. We strategized. Emma reached for my arm. I stepped back. Her touch burned. You don't understand. I understand perfectly. Turning, I descended the stairs. Their voices trailed behind, but I didn't listen. A plan formed.
Pain sharpened it.
Revenge wouldn't be loud, it would be devastating. The night stretched endlessly, darkness swallowing every comforting memory I once clung to. Sitting in my truck, hands gripping the wheel tight enough to make my knuckles ache, I forced myself to breathe. Fury demanded action, violence, confrontation, something, but discipline kept me grounded. Marines didn't break under pressure. We adapted, attacked when the moment was right. Emma and Josh thought they had won. The audacity of it all. My wife, the woman who vowed loyalty, and my son's best friend, a boy I helped mold into a man, lying together in the bed I shared with her for years. Disgust churned in my gut. This betrayal wouldn't end with me walking away humiliated. A motel neon flickered nearby, casting an eerie glow against the wet pavement. I checked in without a word, ignoring the judgmental glance from the receptionist. She probably assumed I was running from something, and she wasn't wrong. Inside, the room smelled of stale cigarettes and cheap air freshener. Peeling off my shirt, I caught my reflection in the mirror. Scars from battles, reminders of sacrifices made for family and country, yet the deepest wound had been inflicted by the one person who swore to stand by me. Sleep refused to come. My mind spiraled through every moment Emma and I shared, searching for signs, clues I might have missed. Had she ever truly loved me? Or had she been waiting for an opportunity, a thrill that I no longer provided? By morning, clarity settled over me like a second skin. Walking away without retribution would make me weak in their eyes. That wasn't an option. Emma wanted excitement, passion, danger. I would give her all of it, but on my terms. Pulling out my phone, I scrolled through old messages until I found the number I needed. Sophia. She answered on the second ring. Well, this is a surprise. Her voice purred, smooth as silk, laced with curiosity. I need a favor. A pause, then a chuckle. Last time we spoke, you said calling me was a bad idea. I changed my mind. Interesting. Sophia wasn't just an old flame. She was the fire itself. The woman I let slip away before I married Emma. She was reckless, intoxicating, and dangerously perceptive. The kind of woman who could burn a man alive and leave him begging for more. I'm in town. Let's meet. A sly hum came through the receiver. Name the place. An hour later, I sat in a dimly lit bar, nursing a whiskey, waiting. The moment Sophia walked in, heads turned. She hadn't changed, still radiated confidence, still possessed a body that commanded attention. Her piercing green eyes found mine instantly. Sliding into the seat across from me, she smirked. You look like a man with a story to tell. I sipped my drink, watching her. You could say that. She leaned closer, the scent of vanilla and mischief filling the space between us. And what does this story need from me? Revenge tasted better when it came with pleasure. I wanted Emma to feel every ounce of humiliation, to realize that she wasn't irreplaceable. And Sophia? She was the perfect storm to make that happen. Let's make my wife regret everything. Sophia's grin widened. Now, that's an offer I can't refuse. Sophia didn't ask unnecessary questions. She never did. That was one of the things I always admired about her. She moved with instinct, acting on impulse, fueled by desire and danger. Maybe that's why I'd been drawn to her before Emma. Maybe that's why she was the perfect woman for this moment. Sitting across from me, she stirred her drink slowly, watching me like a predator assessing wounded prey. Tell me everything. I laid it out plainly, the deployment, the homecoming, the betrayal. I detailed the way Emma gasped when she saw me standing in the doorway, the smug way Josh had lounged in my bed like he owned it. Sophia listened, expression unreadable, fingers tracing circles against her glass. When I finished, she exhaled softly.
Damn.
I nodded. She tilted her head, curiosity gleaming in her eyes. And you want revenge, huh? I met her gaze. I want her to know what it feels like to be discarded. I want her to feel every ounce of humiliation she put me through. Sophia smirked. That's where I come in. We didn't need to spell it out. There was only one way to make this sting deep enough, to hit where Emma would never recover. She needed to see me with someone else. Someone younger, bolder, sexier. Someone who would make her question every choice she had ever made. Sophia leaned forward, her voice a whisper over the rim of her glass. So, how do we play this? I thought about it for a second before answering. Publicly. Somewhere she'll see us. Somewhere she won't be able to look away. Sophia grinned. I know just the place. That's how I found myself standing outside Silver Lux, the upscale restaurant Emma and I used to celebrate anniversaries. The irony wasn't lost on me. It was Friday night, which meant the place would be packed, plenty of eyes, plenty of witnesses. Sophia stepped out of the car, breathtaking in a red dress that clung to every curve. Heads turned as we walked in together, her arm linked through mine like we belonged to each other. The moment we entered, I saw her. Emma sat near the back, laughing softly, a glass of wine in her hand. Josh sat beside her, smirking about something, his arm draped lazily over the chair. They looked comfortable. That would change soon. The hostess led us to a table directly across from theirs. Perfect positioning. Emma hadn't seen me yet, but the second Sophia leaned in, fingers grazing my jaw, everything shifted. Emma's laughter died mid-sentence. Her grip on the wine glass tightened. I took my time. I let Sophia whisper in my ear, let my hands rest against her thigh. I chuckled at things she said, loud enough for Emma to hear. I made it look natural, effortless. And then, finally, our eyes met. Emma froze. Her face paled, lips slightly parted. I raised my glass in a silent toast, smirking. She blinked rapidly, glancing at Josh, but he was too busy scrolling through his phone to notice. Sophia, ever the performer, leaned in and pressed a slow, deliberate kiss against my neck. She's watching, she murmured against my skin. Good, I whispered back. Emma's nails dug into the tablecloth. Josh finally looked up, following her gaze. Recognition dawned on his face, but instead of looking guilty, he just looked irritated. Like my presence was an inconvenience. That only fueled the fire burning inside me. Emma couldn't take it. She shoved her chair back, standing abruptly. Eyes darting between us, she stormed toward our table, trying to keep her voice steady. What is this? I leaned back, draping an arm around Sophia's waist.
Dinner.
Her nostrils flared. With her? Sophia smirked. You must be Emma. Heard so much about you. Emma ignored her, eyes locked on me. You don't even like fancy places like this. I took a sip of my drink, feigning indifference. Guess I changed. Her hands curled into fists. So that's it? You find someone new, and suddenly our marriage meant nothing. A laugh rumbled from my chest. Our marriage, I repeated. You mean the one where you screwed my son's best friend in my house? That marriage. A few nearby tables had gone silent, people pretending not to eavesdrop but failing miserably. Emma's cheeks burned. It wasn't. Don't lie to me. I cut her off. Not after everything. Josh had finally stood, walking over, looking as smug as ever. Man, you should just move on, he said with a cocky grin. I stared at him for a long moment. That's rich coming from you. You're just a kid playing house with someone else's wife. His grin faltered slightly.
Good.
Emma's voice cracked. You're doing this to hurt me. I met her eyes, letting her see exactly what she had created.
No, Emma.
I'm just showing you that you never had the power to break me. Sophia slid her fingers through mine, lifting our joined hands just enough for Emma to see. We should get back to our date, she said sweetly, flashing a smile. Emma's eyes shone with unshed tears, but she had no right to cry. Not after what she had done. Not after the way she betrayed everything we had built. I watched as realization set in, as the weight of her choices came crashing down. And then, finally, she turned and walked away. As I watched her retreating figure, Sophia squeezed my hand. You okay? I exhaled slowly, the tension in my chest loosening just a bit. Yeah, I murmured. I think I am. The drive back to the motel felt different. Lighter almost. The weight that had been crushing my chest since I walked in on Emma and Josh had begun to lift, replaced by something sharper, clarity. Sophia sat beside me, legs crossed, fingers idly tracing patterns on her thigh. The air between us was charged, but neither of us spoke. We didn't need to. She understood what tonight had been, a calculated move, a power shift. And yet, beneath the carefully crafted revenge, there was something real simmering between us. Pulling into the parking lot, I shut off the engine and turned toward her. You didn't have to do that. She arched an eyebrow. Do what? Go all in like that. You didn't owe me anything. Sophia smirked, leaning closer. Oh, sweetheart, she murmured, fingers grazing my jaw. I didn't do it because I owed you. I did it because I wanted to. Her lips brushed mine soft at first, teasing, testing. A slow burn that built with every passing second. I didn't hesitate. I pulled her closer, tasting the fire I had denied myself for too long. Her hands tangled in my hair, her body pressing against mine, heat radiating between us. For the first time in months, I wasn't thinking about Emma. I wasn't thinking about betrayal, loss, or the wreckage of my marriage. I was thinking about Sophia, about the way she felt in my arms, about the way she looked at me like I was something worth wanting. We didn't make it past the motel door before clothes started hitting the floor. She was relentless, wild, a storm that refused to be tamed. And I let her consume me. Hours later, tangled in sheets, her head resting against my chest, she let out a slow sigh. So, what now? I stared at the ceiling, heart still pounding. What do you mean? You got your revenge. Emma saw you move on. But is that really what you wanted? The question settled deep in my bones. Did I want revenge, or had I just wanted to feel something again? I don't know, I admitted. Sophia shifted, propping herself up on one elbow, studying me. I think you do. I met her gaze. And what do you think I want?
She smirked.
Something real. Silence stretched between us, but it wasn't uncomfortable. It was heavy with possibility. The past couldn't be erased. Emma had made her choices, and I had made mine. But for the first time since coming home, I didn't feel trapped in the wreckage of what once was. Maybe revenge wasn't the answer. Maybe it was just the beginning. Sophia leaned in, pressing a lingering kiss against my lips. Whatever happens next, just promise me one thing. What's that? Don't let her live rent-free in your head anymore. I exhaled, a slow, steady breath.
Deal.